This world is pretty fucked up. Ma'am, as a new parent, can I propose that you take better care of your kid?
What do you want?
Well, today I've realized that there is a surprising lack of anime talk on this channel, and that is compared to the numbers of subscribers here whose greatest weakness of course are naked anime women. We ought to do better, at least for today, because I finally watched Studio Trigger's CD Projekt Red's and Netflix OG baby called Cyberpunk Edgerunners, and it's pretty fucking good. So good in fact that the two most oppressed groups on the internet being the weeps and gamers. I'm sorry, that's hard to say. Being the weeps and gamers came together and praised this show to the point where Cyberpunk 2077, the game, has gotten a resurgence in its player base, pulling in more than a million player back, with a steady climb since the beginning of August, where we now have a 24-hour peak of more than 100,000 players. And really, who can blame them? In the same light that Castlevania poked a hole in the video game adaptation meta and Arcane punched through that hole and left a permanent mark, that is a weird analogy. Edgerunners finally gave Cyberpunk its stride nearly 2 years after the game T-posed itself into oblivion. Alright chums, I have decided to play the fuck out of this game and experience what 1.6 and the preceding updates fixed and brought to the game while talking about this show. It helps me organize my thoughts. Also, it wouldn't be Cyberpunk if I did not include some mods here. And I'm talking about essential stuff, the things that the community has worked on to make the game a lot more pleasant, things that are actually good, not just stuff that are there to enlarge Panam's ass. Alright, the creators. So when making a show that revolves around a world of over-the-top violence, gun porn and appraisal for all that is degenerate, you are bound to trigger some people. Who? But it's like triggering in the best way this time around, for who better to make an adaptation on that than Trigger. I really need to work on my transitions. The studio that has heavy hitters like Hiroyuki Himaishi and Yo Yoshinari has been behind some of my favorite anime, stuff like Someone Shoot Me, I'm Already Depressed, Kill the Cat, and classics like I Am the Storm That Is Approaching, just to name a few. If you ever come across any of these shows, you will understand that the creation of a world, or be it society, but we live in one, that does not value human life, where compassion is scarce, and where you are offered the best in Californian living condition, could not have fallen in better hands. We could be spending hours talking about some of the greatest show that they've ever made, and the art style, design, the soundtrack, and whatever the fuck this was. But enough of the technical stuff, let's talk about our story. Our story takes place in the fallout year of 2076, just 1 year prior to the numeral letter 5 gets his body snatched by the breathtaking leader of Hamas, who once calls 9/11. Oh shit! We follow a David Martinez, a nice city kid who, like most kids in the world of Cyberpunk, enjoys brain dances that allows them to relive the last moment of 8-ton murder machines before they encounter the police budget. This world is pretty fucked up. Ma'am, as a new parent, can I propose that you take better care of your kid?
What do you want? What?
His mom, on the other hand, is really just the best. She works her ass off to send him to this bad and bougie Arasaka Academy, a place where they educate kids in the art of corporate lobbyists. Listen guys, we have flying cars in this time and age, that lithium isn't going to mine itself. Despite how hard she works, she's well aware that her song does not belong. But it is her hope to have her Nino hold on just a little bit longer and rise to the ranks and reach that status of corporate elite. And for those of course who played the game, you know where that song and dance goes. Mama and David gets caught in the crossfire of a gang shootout. She gets critically wounded in the midst of giving a motivational speech.
Oh my god.
And to make things worse, because all hospitals are privatized, these guys from the trauma team, a high-tech rapid medical team that will electrocute you if you so much as dare utter the words universal healthcare, leaves her on the ground because she doesn't have the deluxe package.
Bruh.
Oh, no. It's way funnier because it gets worse. She's eventually brought to the hospital where she gets a complication and they refuse to treat her because she can't afford life support.
On today's episode of How Fucked Up is Fucked Up.
But hey, what they can do is to cremate her ass. Yo, David, no, don't cry now, my man. Save those tears for episode 6. David, who initially wanted to pay for his mom's treatment by selling the Stand she had in her possession, can't manage to have the damn thing sold. Thing is, people don't want to buy the upgrade from him, and that's not because it allows you to do things like this. Or even this.
Fight back, nigga! Fight back!
You get the point. But because it belonged to the walking death fridge of a cyber psycho he washed on that piece of brain dance some days prior. And mind you, unless you have a relic chip in your head with Keanu Reeves constantly rewriting your personality, the mental strain of heavy cybernetic implants sends most in a killing frenzy. But what good old David decides to do is to don, well, maybe dawn is not the right word, jacking the damn thing in him Adam Jensen style, so that he could take revenge on that bad and bougie Arasaka classmate of his who went full JoJo on him a days prior.
What, are you afraid of getting caught?
Oh, now it's my turn!
Still fast as fuck, boy!
There's just something extremely satisfying seeing bullies get what they fucking deserve. The deed done, he decides to clear his head by riding on one of those train wagons that the mothers finally allowed us to use, only to catch the second best girl of the show trying to steal his eddies.
What the fuck?
Her name is Scarlett Johansson, sorry, Lucy, and when she's not hacking the world and its people for all the cyber wallets worth, she gets down with the thickness. Anime is going to anime. More importantly to the plot, she takes him under her wing as an apprentice cyberpunk, and later introduces him to the crew. This Edgerunner soon becomes David's new family. Oh my god, the heartache. You know that the heartaches are coming when you mention the word family. So let's just talk about the crew. The crew's head is Maine, a hulking tower of a man with at least one PhD in interior architectural design.
Ew.
It feels like he's the result of the fusion between Final Fantasy's Barrett and Wesley Snipes' Demolition Man. He's just that good. Being, or once being, a friend of David's mum, he really takes a liking to the kid and fits the role of our protagonist's father figure, giving him life as well as dating advice.
You got laid, didn't you?
Speaking of dating, there's Dorio, Maine's Maine, one hell of a woman in her own right who enhances her physical strength with her high-cost gorilla arms. Can you imagine the Pringle cans? Kiwi, the gang's netrunner, who, when not flashing her netrunning assets like an early mission in the game, serves as a good reminder to never trust anyone in Night City. We also have Falco, who's as quick with his banter as he is with his driving, which is a feat for considering that in the year of our Lord 2069, the new United States waged a war that killed the Michelin Man's entire family, making friction, whether static or kinetic, fucking obsolete. Next to last is Pillar, or Skinny Main Man, as in Lobo, the main man. A crude techie that gets to use his party hands for nothing more than a party trick. That's of course before his early exit of the show through a red screen. His shenanigans are funny, but completely outstaged by his sister and last entry into the crew, Rebecca. Oh my god. This short stacked, it's stacked with humor, character and so much heart. And my god, the violence. Her affinity for destruction is on par with Maine, and later David's, except the contrast of a cute pale lolly wielding Glocks. Then a budget arms shotgun. And of course the giant robot arms is just too freaking good. This bratty sister.
Oh, David, my man, what's going on?
stood her ground against Militech, Arasaka, and Adam fucking Smasher. Too soon. I mean, she's just so fucking. No, back it up, they are all truly amazing. From the distinct character design, the amazing group chemistry that they have with one another is really infectious. But back to Rebecca. She is the best girl of the show, and do not let the badassery overshadow that she is David's best friend. And while the relationship does not end up being exactly what she wants, by the end of the show, she's the one who sticks with him to the last moment.
Alright, David, let's go to the top then.
Fulfilling his dying wish and sticking with him even when he loses to cyber psychosis. So a thing that I want to kind of make evident here while playing and then later on splicing footage from the game to that of the show is just how well recreated gameplay elements are in the Netflix adaptation. Screen and blinking of the eyes during the phone calls, to the city's recognizable sights and its aforementioned ice skating roads. They even made a joke about cops spawning out of nowhere, which made me laugh for a solid like 2 or 3 minutes. Weapons alongside cyberwares are great Easter eggs as well. I repeatedly let out gasp when Lucy pulled out her mono wires and used it as a weapon. Main with his PLS or projectile launch system. David destroying a basilisk. You know, the super weapon that is powered in the game by something more powerful than friendship, the power of horny. Too steamy for YouTube, sorry. Or when Rebecca busted out a legendary version of Budget Arms Shotgun's The Carnage and became in her own right a legendary meme. All these things are meticulously detailed and are glorious eye candy. But it is in Edgerunners' deeper subject, however, that I think that Trigger truly make this show shine. And that begins by episode 6. Also, as you can see, I've had a change of clothes, and that is because in the same fashion that I play Cyberpunk 2077, when I have to fulfill a mission, I have to change my drip. But on a serious note though, by the beginning of episode 6, with that shot of Maine running to the edge of Night City, I knew that I was in for something good. And by the end of a 20 or so minutes long torrent of carnage and artistic beauty, I too inexplicably shed a tear. But there is an explanation. There is a reason as to why it is so effective. And I think that it has something to do with the genre, the city, and that damn cyber psychosis. The cyberpunk genre is nice because it is highly adjustable. Not just as in I can summarize just about anything I want from it, like philosophically, and or adjust it to a framework that I want it to fit, but also how it fits in every generation since its conception. Most will know by now 2 of the most influential pieces of cyberpunk work, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner and William Gibson's Neuromancer. The former injecting that hard-boiled justice or money-seeking detective into a bleak, crime-ridden, thanks Ronald Reagan, and ever-so-corrupt ultra-capitalist society. The latter doing the same, but with a hacker. The common denominator, though, remains a world on the brink of collapse with the mega-corporations at its helm. And while aforementioned movies like The Demolition Man may send a message of balance and moderation, modern cyberpunk pushes us more to stick it up to the corporations. And how does that fit in Edgerunners? Well, it's how the show and the game it is based on embraces all facets of cyberpunk. The world isn't stuck in noir. Similarly to work like Altered Carbon, there's a focus on the vibrance of the world. Even in its still and simply panning frames from which I do not know the technical term for, sorry, there's still something kinetic going on that catches the eye. It doesn't leave a sense of dread or invasiveness, but rather that of wonder. But the situation is bleak and we know it. Every street corner is representative of a larger problem. For example, classism. Some people get to have the high-end near risk-free upgrades to their cyberwares, increasing the longevity of their lives, with some in their vanity seeking to even body swap, or dealing away with flesh all entirely. Plus, their high-class status allows them to literally live on top of the world, looking down on the poor to the extent that they simply outcast whoever they feel don't fit according to their financial standards. In contrast, of course, you have the bottom. Very Blade Runner 2049, right? So for the less fortunate, what is left? Well, dreams. Wishes that they and their loved ones cling on to. A desire to escape the city, or to escape the city, or to escape the... Okay, you know, people just really want to get the fuck out of Night City.
Let me explain something to you, V. My whole life I've spent in this shit around us, and I ain't going back.
Which I truly understand. It's a place where you can't even get real fruit. I do not trust your advertisement label. So it is unsurprising that a city that is fueled by the misery of its citizens will end up cultivating a disease, once that the locals will brush off as being a mere buzzword, a blatant designation for the people that one doesn't like.
This patient of yours, cyber psycho, you think?
I do not know. For me, cyberpsychosis is an empty word, a label we give to people who are bad, evil, from cyberware or not.
It is, however, a disease that is very real and chips away at every citizen's humanity, one that aggravates every underlying trauma, one that robs them of their hopes and dreams. Bit by bit, to the death of the emotional self comes, wrapped in an alloy of psychopathy, withdrawal, disassociation, and homicidal tendencies. Perhaps this is the view of this grotesque, perverted yet accurately depicted corporate-driven world. The struggle of a mother and a son's way of dealing with loss. A man's desperate attempt to escape something with no happy ending in sight. Or the desire to truly be free that makes this hit right home. But the sum of its part really makes this show stand out and just shows how much more efficiently the medium of animation makes these things come across. I mean to say that on a philosophical level, one could extrapolate anything from this show, but my greatest takeaway is that much like the titular game gravitates around the philosophy of identity and humanity, this show picks up on this and adds that human element to it that would rather have been lost in in-game data logs, showing how dreams are constantly crushed times and times again, and how loved ones who would be the only remaining anchor to sanity won't even be enough to let one escape the grasp of the true villain of the show, Night City. This all has this very weird effect on the gameplay, because when now dealing with this cyberpsychosis mission that Regina Jones, a character within the games, gives you, you start reconsidering the way that you handle them. Going with that stealthy approach that she mentions, bringing them in so that they can get into therapy, getting a chance at least to going back to normal.
Even if they can't be saved, at least maybe we'll learn more about the disease.
As this is typical, a general rule of thumb in Cyberpunk is that when you are given those feel-good moments where things slow down to let the romance build between loved ones and having this love imbued with several motives like going above and beyond for those you love, you best enjoy it, because within the next few seconds it's about to get snuffed out. And I was kinda happy that this happened here. But I say that because if you've ever watched anything made or just graced by the meticulous and surgically accurate hands of Studio Trigger, you will know that they tend to go galactic-sized for their endings, like a random guy asking you to drive them to the hospital and mow down some kids along the way. They sort of overcompensate in search for a happy ending, but they can't do that here. It's Cyberpunk, so not only are they going to give you hints of a bad ending right from the intro, but when it comes, it'll hit you right hard in the kokoro. Lastly, if I may point out some 3 good remarks about this show, is that 1, they did Adam Smasher / Savage well, so as much as we like to yell death to Arasaka, thank you, Arasaka and Soburo, you melting old geezer. Also, a majority of the soundtracks were from the game, which is pretty awesome. And furthermore, we had to watch one of the best friendship and support character in anime gets crushed. But hell, we could have gotten a Pan-Am ending, but instead we got a Judy. And this Judy is called Lucy. Sorry, not sorry for the Judy / Lucy fans out there. But I'll say thanks for watching this video, thanks to Studio Trigger for the amazing show. Netflix is on a roll for another good anime video game adaptation. Now, if only they could do the same thing with their live actions, and if not, just don't make them. Also, good luck on the developers. They might be enjoying the fuck out of this right now, this resurgence into the game, and hopefully it gives them the courage to spend more time polishing their stuff before they release it. Now, I know they've been working hard, and I've seen some of the changes right now. I'm playing a game that is rather stable, still some bugs, but kudos for all those who have poured their heart out into making this. And yeah, see you guys in the next video.